Alrighty, so I've noticed that there's not many seeds in the Mitre 10. It's hard to get stuff, so I thought I'd show you a few tricks and we'll do some potting, some planting of some seedlings. So. On this piece of paper here, I got some of our chilies from last year. They've just got dried in here, and you can actually buy chilies like this in the supermarket. Go to the Indian section or the spice section, and I've just pulled the top off, and you can actually get a heap of seeds out of these chilies. So these are just been picked and then dried and put in a bag and sent to us. So there's no nasty things on them because they're actually for eating. So then I've put those seeds that I've got out of that chili onto some paper, some blotting paper. So I put them in and put some water in there, and then I've sealed that and put it into a plastic bag so it maintains its moisture. So it can probably sit in there for probably a day, day and a half, 2 days, and then you'll start to see the seeds starting to germinate. So these have got a lot bigger than these ones I've pulled out, so they're taking on water, and it won't be long we'll see if they're going to germinate or not. Once you see tiny little roots coming out, you can actually plant them in the potting mix. So if you can't find those chilies, there's the chilies that you find in the fresh part of Woolworths or Coles or wherever, whatever your supermarket is. You can get these chilies and just open them up and you'll get the seeds out of them. These are highly likely a hybrid chili, so it may not come exactly the same as what you got there, but if you can't get something and you want chilies in your garden, this is a good way. So you just take those seeds off into a thing and let them dry for a day, not in the sun, just inside, and let them dry for a day, and then do the same thing that I've done there. Just put a bit of paper there, a little bit of water, put them in a plastic bag so they don't dry out, and they should grow. So we're just trying to get them to hydrate before we plant them. Just makes that easier. But to do the same job, if you know your seeds are good, you get your potting, what you're going to put your seeds into to grow them, and we'll just put some potting mix. Don't press this down. So we just fill that up with a good seed raising potting mix. Probably get that anywhere. I think I've even seen them inside the supermarket or at your hardware shop. So you just let that be really loose in there. You don't want to compact it, you want it loose, so it's nice like that. And then you just put a little indentation, very, very little. So you're only going down about 3 or 4 mils down. So that's ready. And then I've got some herbs here. So I've got some dill, we want to grow some dill. So you open your packet of dill. I was lucky enough to have dill at the Mitre 10 today. And just sprinkle in that cell dill. They're tiny little seeds. How many you want there? So there's going to be quite a few coming up. I might as well put them all in. Once they come up, you can actually separate them a bit and repot them. Call that spiking out. So we've got dill cucumber in one of those. Got oregano in another one. You can't beat having nice fresh herbs in your garden. Well, you've got nice fresh garden, produce, tomatoes and everything. To actually have fresh herbs with it is fantastic. There's not much in these. So I put them in there. Oregano seeds very minute. Traditionally the smaller the seed is, the shallower you want to plant it. I've got purple basil. You can mix these up because once they're growing, like I've got sweet basil and purple basil. Once they're growing in your garden, it's very easy to see which ones you've got growing. You just pick the one you want out of your garden. And if you're going to have tomatoes, you've got to have basil. And this is sweet basil. Seems to be a lot. There's a lot in that cell. You're going to see a lot of seeds come up in that cell, but once they're up, we can spike them out. Put them into another pot and let them grow. Some people are scared to grow their own. They think it's difficult, but I'll just show you some tricks to make it a simple process. So now we've got dill, we've got oregano, we've got purple basil, we've got green basil in that one. I don't even mark them because it's easy to see what they are when they're up. And now we just get the potting mix again and sprinkle it over top of that. There's a lot of temptation when you're doing this to pack it down and get as much as you can in there. You don't want that to happen. You just want it loose, and then we just smooth that off without digging down. Get it nice and flat like that. Wriggle it a little bit, level it out. Get a hose, and I'm just going to gently wet that up. Let it soak in. So this potting mix has probably been sitting a little while, so it doesn't soak in real easily. But progressively that's going to soak in. Once you've got that nice and wet, so wet it right through. So I do that probably 3 or 4 times. Now to get germination to happen effectively, so one of the biggest problems we have when we're trying to germinate seeds, and this is what makes it difficult, is that they're only like 2 mils or 3 mils under the soil, and the top soil dries out. So the little tiny seed germinates, and the root comes out, and we don't get home from work, or we forget about it, or the sun hits it and it dries out, and then that seed dies. So there's a trick that we can do. If we put it inside a cling lock bag, so that now, and we leave that inside. So if you're in a really cold area, you want it in a fairly warm place, but up here in the tropics, it can just sit inside out of the sun, and we'd probably leave that there for 48 hours. Once that's been left for 48 hours, those seeds will start to germinate, and you can see straight through it. If you see anything starting to happen there, you then remove it and you bring it outside and put it in a shade house or in the shade of a tree or something, and just keep it damp. If you let them dry out, they're going to die, but if you just keep them moist, and they'll grow. And these products seem to grow pretty quickly. The oregano is a little bit slow, but the basil and the dill, once it's going, it's pretty good, and then we can put them in the pots in the garden, or put them between your tomatoes or whatever you want to do. So that's a simple one. You can use the same thing with zucchinis, tomatoes. We got some here that Sharon's growing. So she's got already going here using the same system, so hers is a little bit lower. So she's got, it looks like coriander. So she's got coriander growing here already. So this is at the point where we could actually spike them out and put one in each cell and let them grow up a bit bigger. But they sit like this for another week or so, then we can put them in the garden and they start to grow quite successfully. So I hope that helps. Over the time we'll show you them coming up, and we'll show you those chilies I'm going to grow, and we can see how we get chilies from dried chilies or even from the fresh chilies that we got from the supermarket. Get them up and growing, and you'll have your own chilies. Even if you can't buy the seeds, there's a way to get seeds. And then we'll also show you the basil and that as it starts germinating and coming through. So I hope that's helped you out. Thanks a lot.